Hey guys, I am Nishant and welcome to Cybernetico. So in this video, let's build a news application powered by our voice using React and LNAI. So let me give you a demo here, quick demo. We have the articles here with the image, the title of the article, description, author, date and the read more button. Click the button here, read more, and we will see the article in a new tab, the whole article. Then we can choose our categories using this select. If we select health, we should see the health news. Select sports for sports news. We can also manipulate our commands using this voice. So if we speak like say business, we should see the business news coming up here. So let's try that. Business.
Fetching news on business category.
So see, it's coming up here and the category has been changed to business. So now let's learn how to build this project in React and LNAI. So here I have a React app running. So let me do some modifications here. First, we will remove everything from the app.js file. All the things like last name, headers and all. Let me also remove logo SVG. And from the app.css, let me remove all these things here. Clear out this for an empty canvas. Now in the index.js file, we don't need React strict mode, so just remove it and save it simply like this. So we're done. Then what we have to do is we have to create a component here, a folder called component. Let me make a component here called news data.js. Make it functional and import the component inside app.js. So say import news data from components news data and simply return it here like this. Fine. Now let me write something inside the news data that is properly visible to us. So we don't need news data in a div, we want a h1. So we can say news, or let's say voice news. Save it. And we will have an h1 tag here. Give this div a class name, which will be main. And inside the app.css, we will say main. And we can do display of flex, justify content center for making it horizontally aligned, then align item centered. But we also need some height, so make it 100 vh. Save it, and it will be in the center if we save this also. See, it's in the center. Okay, let me also get some fonts here. So head over to Google Fonts and select a font here. So click Poppins. Let me select a font like and regular 400 and medium 500. So let me close this and click medium 500, select the style, go to the top and open the selected families at the top. Then copy this import and put it inside main file like this. Save it and see. If we just do this, the font family as Poppins, this should be in Poppins font. See, it's being reflected properly. Now let's do okay, we need to call the API here, this API. For this, we need to sign in with your account or your email. Click documentation here and click get the API key. So this is the API key that we need. So just paste the API key here, or let me create one more component here, or let me create a folder called service. Here we will create a service for our API calls. So say get news.js. So we will do what can we do here? So let me make this a functional component RFC. We don't need this return, so remove it. We also don't need, okay, wait, we also don't need the React import, so remove it as well. Then here we can do this. So let me create one const. So const API key equals to the API key. So store it here. Then we will create a Axios request to the API. So we will have to install Axios. So let's install it. Just do npm install Axios. Enter. It will take some time to install this package. So let's wait. So it has been installed. So now let's create a function. So okay, not a function. Yes, a function. So say const. Let's say get all news here, and we will simply call Axios. So we need to import Axios. Axios.get. So let me get the API endpoint. We will create one more const here, which will point to API endpoint. So our endpoint should be this. So let me go to documentation. Okay, get an API key, we did that. Get started. Okay, yes, this is the API key, but we don't have to use everything. We have to use the top headlines API. So just copy the API key here and add it here, and remove this API key param here from here. Wait, so we don't need this, and API key we will add it later. So country will be US initially, so we will change it later. So save it. So to add the endpoint, we will just do this API endpoint. Then I guess we don't have to do it like this. So this API endpoint slash the where is it? So API endpoint slash API key. We have to add the API key. So it's not slash, it's an ampersand. Ampersand API key equal to, we have to use this API key endpoint. But it's just a string. So to make it a variable, wrap it in a curly bracket and add a dollar between or before them in the API endpoint and the API key. So it's done. So we are calling this Axios.get method and calling this API endpoint. So it's a promise. So we can say then let's say response console.log response, and if it fails we will catch the error simply and say error. We can say console.log error. So that's done. We have function here. So let's export the function. So say export const get all news. Wait a second, I think we don't have to use a function, so simply add it before them in this function like this. And now if we call this get news function, this will run properly. So let me call this inside our get news in our news data. So import the function. So import get news from service slash get news. And to call this function, we will have to use the use effect hook. So create it, and it will run every time our app loads or mounts. Similarly to component it mount. So call the get news function here. So now let's check what we get in the console, whether we are successful or not. So refresh the page and see we are getting this data here. It means we are successful, but we need this data here. So we need to do response.data to get the actual news data, but still we have to get the articles inside the data. So do a data.articles to traverse between them. Here we have 20 news articles, which has the author, content, description, published at, source, title, and URL, everything else. So we will have to use this data. So what can we do here? How do we get this data to this page? And to move data between them, so we need a few changes here. So we don't need to call all this then in this. So clear it out, remove default from here, and let it just be export default export function get news. Save it. See, we will have an error because it's not imported properly defaultly, so we will have to do it here. Save. Now we can see fine. So here what we have to do is we have to remove this get news function from use effect and create one function here. So const get all news, and here we will call this function of get news like this. So call it, but if we save and call it here, we will see an error also. So let me show you. Open the console. Okay, it's working fine, I guess. Refresh the page. Okay, I guess we have to return this here. So return it here, then it will work fine. Return, but it's not working fine. So what we have to do is we have to just make this function as async. So async and await get news. Save this file and let me store this data inside an state. So we will do this. So const, let me create a state here, news data, and set news data equals to use state an array, and we will set it like this. So simply wrap it in a bracket and set news data here. But we have to import the use state hook from React. So let me import this, and then we can simply console this state called news data to see the data. We don't need this return, so remove it. Refresh the page. Okay, it's undefined, so we do need the return. Fine. So it's done. So we need this data here. So just to await get news dot data. Okay, not here. Okay, sorry, not here. Here, news data dot data, and then we will have to use the articles. So add the articles here, and we're done. We are getting all these articles here. So refresh the page, and okay, what is this? Cannot rotate properties of undefined. So we have to make sure that this news data exists when we load our page. So we have to add a question mark. It means if the news data exists, only then it will go inside this data, and same for articles. Save it, and it will work now. See, we are getting this data here, all the data, but we don't need console log. We need to map them in our app. So we can say news data, okay, news data in a curly brackets dot map. We can say news. We can return the news. So let me wrap it in a div. First should be the headline of the news. So let's add the headline. So this should be the title. So we can say news dot title. Refresh. Something is wrong. What is wrong here? News dot map is not a function. Add a question mark here. Still the same error. What is the problem? News data dot map, it's not a function, it's an array. What's the problem? Okay, let me console this once more. Just do this. So console.log. Okay, let's do this. So I guess the problem is here, existing here. Add a question mark here, then it will work. Okay, still the same. So let me console the news data. Console.log news data. News data dot data. Okay. What is the okay? News data dot articles. So this is the data we need. So I guess I am not setting it properly anywhere. So what we can do, we can just remove this await and store it in a let. So let's select data equal to await news data. Then we will simply set the news data here. Set news data. We can say this. But instead of this news data, it will be data. Save it and it will work properly. See, we are getting all this. What is it? Titles here in the main. So in this main, we will have to make this. So flex direction should be column. Now it's fine. See, we are getting all the titles here. So let me add some padding. 30 px. Now they are aligned properly. Also, we can also add some gap, but we will not do it here. We will add it inside this div. So make a div here also in the main and make it as div class name. Let's make this as grid main. Come to app.css and say grid main, and we will do display of grid, display grid, save, and we can do grid template columns auto, and one more auto, because if I add two autos, two news should be in should be in one column. So also add the gap here, 20 pixels. So now they are having some gap. See, and we don't need this 100 vh height, so remove it. Now that's perfect. We are having this title here and the title and the news title. See, if we make it to one auto, one news would be in the one column. So let's leave it at that. Also in this news data, not map, we have a div. So make this as grid child. Come here in app.css, we will do grid child as, let's say, let me add a border of 1px solid gray. Now they have a border here which is properly visible. Then let me make the padding so that should be synced inside or move inside. See, so these are the title here. Fine. I mean, they have the border now. Let me give some radius of the border. Border radius 10 pixels. Now they're rounded. So one more thing, head over to colors in materialui.com. Go to MUI.com and fetch for colors. Go to the bottom and let me select a gray color here. Okay, this one. Let me select this E0. So replace the gray here. Save. And see, it's having a grayish border. That looks perfect. Fine. So it's done. So the next thing here is, in this div we are adding the news title. So wrap it in a p tag, a paragraph tag. Then the next thing we have is, so open the network tab, refresh the page. So it's here, I guess this is not the API call, it's wait a second, let me zoom it to the top. Okay. So open the console, leave it. Open the console. Let me console it here, the news data. So we can console our news data here. So we can say console.log news data. So here we have this data in the console. So we have this news title. Let me add the content now. The content of the article. So we will say P news question mark dot title, or sorry, content. So it has the content now. Then we have the author. So let me add this as well. So we will say author and paste it here, or just type it here, author. We'll have author here. See, we also have the image and the URL of the news. So we will edit them later. Let me add this published at. So we can say p news question mark dot published at. So it's in the different format. We have to convert it using moment.js to be readable properly. Fine. So we need one more thing here. So let me add one a tag here and type read more. So two dots added here, and if we click this read more, we should be redirected to the URL of the news, which is this URL. So here just add an href and do news dot URL and add a target of blank for it to be open it in a new window or a new tab. So target blank, save. Now if we click the read more button, this should open up in a new window, in a new tab, I mean. See, it's working. So we don't need colors, we don't need fonts. Fine. So it's done. Now let me install a package called moment.js for the time. So go to moment.js here, open this. Let me install using npm i moment save. This command we will have to use. So install. Okay, it will be installed automatically. Fine. So now let's add one image tag here. But first, okay, let's add an image. So just do img image source. We'll have to add the source, which is called news dot URL to image question mark dot URL to image. Save, and we'll have the image URL now. See, but the thing is, if we refresh, some images are very large, so we'll have to add a styling in the images. So we can say class name, let's say news image. So copy the news image, come to add.css and let me add it here. So this should be width 100%. Now the width is 100% for all the newses and it looks great. Let me add some more things here. So in the news data, let's give this be a news title. So this should be news title class. Come here and say news title and font size 20px, and let me add some bold text here. So we can just do font weight 700. They are now bold. See, but we can make it 600 as well. So that works also. Okay, fine. Make it 600. The next thing here is our content. So do news content. Save it and come to app.css and simply do news content here, and we will do font size little bit smaller, so make it 18px. Okay, too much here, make it 14. Okay, this is here, fine. So let me add the third thing here of the author. So we can say news author. So here come here and say news author, font style italic. It's now italic. Let me add also author name here. Author, not name, the key, that is an author. See, but italic is not looking good, so remove it. Add the font size of 12 pixels here. Change the font size, but it's too small, I guess, so make it 14. Okay, 14 is fine. Then make this as 16 and make this as 25. Okay, not this. Where is it? News title 25. Yes. Now it's fine. So I guess moment has been installed. So let's check. Yes, it's done. So close this or just destroy this terminal. What is it? Move it here and move it here as well. What's happening? Okay. Just close it. Fine. So to use moment, we have to import the package here. So say import moment from moment. Come to moment.js and we can choose our time format or date format that we want to use. So we can use this or this moment.format this. So just trap it in a curly bracket and add it here, or not curly bracket, just remove all these things and put the date key inside this moment bracket and refresh and see the date is now here. We can add the date key name like this and it will be here. Save. Wait a sec. Now it will be fine. See, we can see our date. So add a class name of news date. Come to the down or bottom, say news date this, and let me make the date to be font size 14px, same as this news author. And we can do one more thing, we can move them, the author and the date, in one single column. So do this. So wrap it in a div, the date and the author, and add a class name here. So class name should be grid or not grid. Let's make it justify content space between. So make the name as space between or space between. Fine. Come here and do space between and let me do display of flex justify content space between, and they will be in the one column like this. So it's fine. So here we have the title and the author and the date and the description and the read more link with the image here. That looks pretty much great, I think. This news application. Fine. But some doesn't have the author. So we can add a check here. So in this author, we will do this. So if author, if we take this, we will do and, or we can do this. Wait a second. Not like this. So if we take this, we can do the author name, print it, and else, or else we'll say no author or author name not available. Save. And if the author name is not available, it will be printed here. But if it is available, it will be the author name. So see, it's fine. Great. But we also need one drop down here. Select the news. What is it? So come over to the article here, this news API, and we have to use the key query param of the source, not the source, the category. So where is it? Let me find it. So it's where it is. Where are your category here? See, the category is being passed. Where is it? It's top headlines. Okay, we are in the wrong page. So click documentation, and we will have to. Okay, where is it? Get started. Okay, let's use the category. Fine. So create, or what can we do to, okay, add a category param here, category, and initially it will be general. This will be fine, I guess. So we can add it here. So we can say ampersand category equals to this and category. Let's check now. Save or refresh the page. So it's general. So if we make it to health, the news will change to health news. Try this. See, the news is being changed to health news. If you make it to, let's say, sports, this will be changed to sports news. See, we have the sports news here. So the general is the default one. So if we don't have any value of the category, the general news will be default. So we need one drop down here or select here. So let me grab it from HTML select. HTML select. Let me copy this with the label. So where should we add it? So after this voice news, let's add it here. Save. And we have a drop down here. So what can we do here is map or wrap it in a div like this. And here as well. So it's in a div now. We can give it class name. So let's say class name should be select. Come to the app.css and say select padding 20 pixels. That's fine. Okay, let's make it to margin. Let's see. Margin. Okay, that's the same thing. Fine. Refresh. Now let's add the styling for the select. So add a class name here. So this should be select box. Come to app.css and do select box, and we will do what we will do. We will add a width of 300 pixels. Okay, too much. Let's make it 200 or 100. 200. Fine. Some height of, let's say, 40 pixels. So it has some height now. Fine. And in the select, let me add some gap, 10 pixels. Okay, not working. So let me add some padding here. This should work, but it's not working. So choose a category. Add this here. But we need some margin between them. So we can do display of flex, align items center, justify content, space between. Let me add some width here. So width 300 pixels. Too small. 1000. What about 1000? Too much. 400. Okay, 400 is fine. 300 is small. 400 is fine. But what about 350? Still too much smaller. 400 is fine though. Leave it at that. Change the padding to 100. So not 110. But still fine at 20 as well. So make it 390 or 80, 70, 60. Okay, 60 looks good, but 70 is also fine. So make it 70. Now we have this drop down. We can select our option like it's a select. So in the select box, let me give the border to be, or let me just copy this border here from the grid child and we'll add it here. Save. And the border is now changed to this grayish. Also make the outline to none. See, because now if we click this, we don't have to, we won't see the black outline that we were seeing previously. Add a padding here of 10 pixels. It's now moved outside. Now let me add the categories. So first will be the general. Second will be health. Third will be our what should we name the third one? Business. I think spelling is right. Fourth one should be health is done, sports. So let's only map the four right now. Make this as sports. This is business. This is health. And this is general. I guess the spelling of business is wrong. So if we come here, and check the business spelling, We should see the spelling here. Okay, I guess it's fine. Business. So now save the file here, and we need a function to trigger when we select our option, our category. So say const select select category. Wait a second, fine. And add the function here in the select. Wait, let me just break them down like this. So just add on change the select category. Also let me make this as category and here as well. So now what will happen is if we select a category here, general, health, business, sports, anything else, that will show up in the function. So we can take a event parameter here and we can do console.log this event.target.value. Save it. Now open the console. Yes, clear it out. Select something like health and see it's here. Select business, it will be here, and sports will be here. Now we need a state here to store the data of the select. So we can say const select option and one word selecting this. So set select option. It will be in string. So make a empty string here. Then simply select the value here using set select option. Then pass the select option here. Let me receive it here. So category we are passing. So see, the data we are passing in this get all news will be received as category here, and it's general initially. So now if we change the category, that should work. So make it as health. Okay, it's not working because we have to pass the select option here as well in the get all news. So now if we select, they should change. So refresh the page, select something like health. Okay, it's not changing. So let me open the network tab and see what's wrong here. How do I make this? Okay, now fine. So refresh the page. We're not calling in any APIs. Wait a second. Okay, now it's fine. Okay. So clear the console. Let me select something like health. Okay, it's here. Let me check the headers. Top headlines, category general. Still we are passing general. Okay, I guess because we'd have to remove this from here. So save, and now let's try once more. Refresh the page. So it's general. If we select health here, we are not getting health news. Clear the console once more. Business. Okay, it's undefined. We are passing. In the get all news. Okay, that's the problem here. So we don't have to pass the select option here. We have to pass it here in this get news. That was the problem. Now it will work. Refresh and revert back to general. Now refresh the page and select health. The health should be here, the health news. Select business, the business news should be here. Select general again, and we will have the general news back here. See, with all this data. So it's done. Now let's add LNAI into the project. So open our terminal here, and we will install LNAI. So in the LNAI or LN app, click here, get started. Sign in with your account, Google or GitHub. Choose your email account. It will sign you in with your email account here, and we will install it using the command. So you can create a new project here. Click create and add the name in empty project, or you can click the voice news here. See, it's done. So let me get the integrations tab, open it, go to the bottom and let me install using npm install this ln sdk web. Save. So install it in the terminal. It will take some time. So let's wait. Now let me import the ln button from LNAI. So simply copy this ln button import and add it here. Then save. Now we need a use effect hook to run this. So it has a bug, I guess. So open the integrations once more. Go to React, and we will have to get the ln key. So let me create one const here. So say const ln key, and then paste the key here. This key. So copy and paste in the template literal. Fine. Then we have to copy the whole code. Wait, copy this whole code. So copy this code and just paste it here. Let me paste it before this, like this. So it's done. Save it, and we should see a button here that is a mic button. Replace this key with the ln key, this key, and then save. Let me refresh it and it will be fine. Fine. We don't need this, so we can say console.log the command data dot data, because we are passing the data here. So if we open the script here, we are passing the data. So we are speaking like this. We will speak, get the news from the item category. So item is our category, and it exists. Period item value, if it exists, we will pass the data into our console. So let's try this. So let me create, or let me just set the option here and set select option. Save it, refresh, and it will be fine. Let me try this. We will speak, get me the health news. Get me the health news.
Fetching news on the health category.
Okay, that is not working. So I guess we spoke wrong. So let me remove all these things. We will just have the item. If we speak health, we should get the health news. So let's try. Health.
Fetching news.
No, not that. Health.
Fetching news on health category.
So say it works. If we speak, let's say business. Let's see what happens. Business.
Fetching news on business category.
So see, that works perfectly. One more thing we have to do. We are setting the command data here in the select option. Okay, here. But let me add some value here. So its value should be the select option for the select. So if we say business, it will be business. It will be health if we select health. Sports, it will be sports. Let me choose health, or let me speak general. General.
Fetching news on general category.
So see, the text or the select here is now set to general automatically because we are setting the value here. If we say health, there should be health. Health.
Fetching news on health category.
That's not working because it's not taking the data perfectly. So we can do, if p.item.value, if it is equal to, let's say health, spelling we have to check health, and or we have to use or. If it is health, or if it is let's say, what is it? Sports. Let me break this down in a new line. So if it is health, it will be health, but we have to make sure to wrap it in a one more. Wait, if it works like this, if we okay, not it, it's fine. Okay, it's fine. What's the problem here? Misleading line break before this renders rates as rates. Readers may interpret this as expression boundary. So we have to don't have to use spaces here or inter. So we can do if health or sports, or the value should be let's say general. So make this as general, or the last one is called, we have last one is business, so make it as business. That should work fine, I guess. So we'll save this, but we have some errors here. They are now disappeared. So let me try this once more. If we speak other than these four, we will get the message called cannot get data. So let's try this. Health.
Fetching news on health category.
See, for health, it is fetching. So let me make something like, let's make like, let's say, tech. Tech. So say it's not getting the data back to us. It means it's not working. I mean, it's working. Technology.
Cannot get data.
See, cannot get data. So it's working fine. So save the LNAI, it's done. Let me copy the intent and let me put this here in the our code. So we can create a file in source folder called lnscript.js and add it here. So let me explain the intent, what is happening what is happening here. So we are speaking the item, then it's going inside the block and it's checking if the item is health or sports or general or business. Only then it is returning us back the data. But if it is not this 4, it's saying us back that cannot get data. It's also playing this text here called fetching news on the category dash category. So that's done. So that was all about how to create a news application using React and LNAI.